welcome, Farhan Akhtar. It's a special privilege to have you with us, and congratulations on Toofan. I think every 10 years you decide to redefine the conventional hero in Indian movies, and I think you've done it again with Dil Chahta
Thank you
Hai.
so much, Kaveri.
With,
Thank you. That's very, very sweet of you.
no, it's Dil Chahta Hai, then of course Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. I think that's everybody's favorite go-to movie these days. I see it referenced a lot in popular culture, which is, of course, the ultimate compliment.
Hmm.
And Tufan, I think the kind of hero that you created, um, the outward physicality, and yet the masculinity is so different from what we expect. I mean, this is a hero when he finally wins, cries, he just cries.
Hmm.
There's no triumph, there's no that kind of energy that he shows the first time he wins.
Yeah, yeah.
He just breaks down. And I think Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra, the director, put it best. He said that it's like a soothing balm on our deep wounds currently.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I really think that's the best way to describe it. Would you like to talk a little about that? Because it's a boxing movie, just a boxing movie
Yeah,
in the face of it.
yeah.
But it's a lot more, isn't it?
I mean, I absolutely would like to believe so that it is. What Rakesh is saying is true. You know, we we did want to we did want to tell a story that speaks about the kind of, if you want to call it wounded, if you want to call it fragmented, you know, slightly being pulled apart at the seams time, that we live in,
Right.
um, and to somehow just kind of re-emphasize the importance of love, to re-emphasize the importance of understanding, of recognizing people for character as opposed to just caste or community or any kind of prejudice that you may have. So these were all important things that we hoped that people would take from the film. And as far as the masculinity is concerned, when I was showing the film to Dad and Shabana, and Shabana saw the film, and she was like, I absolutely love when they show macho men having a tender moment,
Yeah.
because that's what she said. She's like, it's so rare to see in an action, like a so-called action, like you just said, like in so-called, like an action, a film that's about muscle and is
Right.
about being the stronger one,
Right.
to kind of show the tender side of a man. And um again, this is not consciously done, to be honest with you, but I think that that's what inherently the character felt like.
Hmm.
Like the moment that you refer to in the film, which is the moment of crying at the end,
Hmm.
is honestly, it's not a planned moment at all.
Right.
The planned moment was to go all yay yahoo,
Yeah.
because I mean, he's done it. That was the thing. But when I kind of turned back and I saw Pareshji standing there, and it just gave me a sense of like, man, finally he's accepted
Yeah.
me, and accepted me in terms of his daughter and Aziz. Like, so now I'm like, we are one, you
That's
know. It just made me feel so emotional in that moment that I just started crying. That's really what happened. And the camera just kept rolling, and we just had that take, and that was it. And we kept that in the film. We didn't even bother going ahead and doing another take.
I'm
That was
so
it.
glad. I'm so glad that happened. Because, Farhan, it's not just about you, but the other men in the movie as well. Both
Hmm.
Paresh and Mohan Agashe, their
Yeah,
characters, they're so strong and yet so vulnerable. And
yeah,
I think Mohan Agashe for me is really also the soul of the film. A lot of people have
absolutely.
focused on Paresh as well, but I think for me, Mohan Agashe is really the he just centers the film somehow in his character. The moment
Yeah.
when he puts the hand of the little girl in Paresh's
Hmm.
hand. I mean, these
Hmm.
are such powerful moments, and And
Yeah.
that's another generation. That's a generation earlier to you. And yet they
Mm.
have the same kind of softness that we now call new age masculinity,
Yeah.
the new age
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's always there. It's just that now I think we have validation to be that way. Is that so, you think, for men?
Um, I mean, the thing is that we can just put out what we hope, in terms of what, I mean, I guess, whether you want to call it masculinity or you want to just call it in terms of just, I think, a general understanding of each other and a general acceptance. I think that's what Dr. Mohan Agashe represents.
Right,
He's a character in the film he bases his opinion of everything on what he experiences.
right,
He doesn't base it on anything that he's heard or anything that somebody else feels.
right,
He bases it on what he sees. He's empathetic. He understands Ananya in a weird way more than her own father does.
that's right.
You know, so the thing is yeah. So absolutely, but the thing is that we can. It's very. I would say it would be very wrong or very pompous of anyone who's made this film or is involved with this film to say this is what we want you to think. That's not nice, because that's not the case. But it'll be, I mean, what you take from it, I mean, if it makes you just think about certain things in a different way, I mean, that's great if that happens, but I mean, you don't put it there for that reason. I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly or
I
not.
think you put it because you believe in it. It's true to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is your belief system,
Yeah. And it
so
may
that
not
that
be
comes in
true
there.
to someone else, but if it rings true to someone else, terrific.
Absolutely.
Right. Farhan, we have to, of course, talk about when you talk about the message of love of the movie, we have to talk about the message, the toxicity in the environment. There's so
Hmm.
much poison in the air, and you are often a victim of it as well.
Hmm.
Although victim may be a word that's not necessarily associated with
Right.
it, because you're supposed to be the privileged one and insiders and all that. We've heard that debate many times. But when as an artist, you have to. In fact, someone said this to me very well and put it very well. As an artist, you have to have both. You have to have a very thin skin because you want to feel what's happening around you. At the
Yeah.
same time, as a public figure, you have to really have a thick hide because
Hmm.
you start feeling everything so emotionally, and
Yeah.
all the slings and arrows that are
Hmm.
aimed on you. How will you ever be able to function? So I
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
wondering, how do you function as an artist? How do you keep your sanity and your focus?
Um, you know, I I can't remember who, I read it somewhere where this person said, like, haters are going to hate. You should spend your time keeping yourself busy loving.
Hmm.
That's what you should do.
Not
So
yet.
that's sorry.
Easier said than done.
No, of course, easier said than done. But I think it's, where do you want your energy to be put here?
Hmm.
Do you want to put your energy into like dealing with what people say about you, think about you, and just whether it's in all that negativity kind of pull and allow it to pull you down, or then just focus on just focus on your own growth and focus on what it is that you can put out there as a representation of you through your work. I think that's really, really important. And eventually our work does speak for us.
Yeah.
I think people have you can form an opinion on some level about a kind of person. If you see a body of their work, it tells you about that person. Maybe a one-off film won't do that, but a body of work will. And
Right.
I think whatever it is that you want to show the world about yourself or tell the world about yourself or want them to know about you, it's important that that opinion forms through your work.
you're expected to have an opinion on a lot of issues.
That's a very double-edged sword, Kaveri, because
Yeah,
when you don't have an opinion, you're criticized for being silent. And when you have an opinion, then you're criticized for speaking about things that you don't really know about.
exactly.
So I don't know. The thing is that I totally understand why people in film, people even in sport in this country at least, choose to not speak, because you become very easily like the a scapegoat. You become very easily like the the poster child suddenly for a certain thought. um so I mean, I can totally
Yeah.
understand that, you know
But yet you choose to usually speak up.
I mean, if there is something that really gets to me, I personally feel that I should, um because maybe it's just the house that I grew up in, that like that. I mean, like, I
Silence
don't,
is
maybe it's
not
just,
an option.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not an option. And the thing is that I've always felt, because nobody's ever told me that I have to do it. Never, that has never happened. But I've always noticed that there to have to be on in some way socially responsible is an important part of life. You can't put your head in the sand about everything. And at the end of the day, we are also talking about things that may not affect you directly, but they affect people who have allowed you to be who you are. So I mean, if they can come and support you and give you love and buy your ticket and do this and do that, for you. I mean, apart from entertaining them, sure, for those 3 hours or 2.5 hours in the thing, do I not have any other responsibility? And of course, I don't feel the need to speak about everything, because not everything affects me the way certain things do. And when certain things do affect me, I feel that it's important for me to let people know that I share in that common concern.
What affects you most deeply?
Well, I mean, one is, to me, the whole gender um, issue, discrimination, whether it's, I mean, just where with women, or whether it's with the whole LGBTQ, the plus community. I feel those, like, basic, the denial of basic rights that are just guaranteed to everyone, you know, because they are either just a straight man or a straight woman, but more often than not, just a straight man, you know, is, I mean, the fact that somebody could be denied that is just beyond my understanding. Like, I don't get it how a group of people who have no experience of being someone who has to live their life, you know, constantly in anxiety or in fear, that, like, they could either go to jail, or they could be criminalized, or they can't get an apartment, or they can't get a job. I mean, how can we decide this for someone just because they have a different gender preference
Yeah.
from us? So that kind of stuff really gets to me. Which is one. And I think today, I mean, any sane person has a shared common concern, like you spoke about, of a growing environment of a certain degree of intolerance. When it comes to, and the pushing of false narratives. That somebody is bad because they just belong to a certain religion, or they belong to a certain community or a certain caste, that just makes them a bad person, or that makes them so. You have to fight that. You have to stand up and speak up against it, because it's not cool to stay silent on these things.
Sorry, I'm a little distracted by the painting behind you. Can you tell me what it is? It looks beautiful.
The painting behind me actually is a row of five monks,
Uh-huh.
where four of them have found their inner peace, I guess, through chanting, but one of them is finding it through music.
Who's it by?
That's the.
Is it by
Uh,
anyone we know?
oh God, I'm sorry, I don't unfortunately remember the artist's name, but I can read it at the back and let you know. I absolutely just loved it.
Right. Why?
Yeah.
What does it say to you?
Sorry.
What does it say to you? Why do you love it so much?
Well, I don't know. I mean, well, to start with, I think it just kind of reaffirms my faith that music is something that unites us all, and and you know what I mean. On one level, it's that, and secondly is, I mean, there is spirituality in many things apart from looking up.
Right. And then we have to, of course, talk about your amazing physical transformation. Having done this before for Bhag Milkha Bhag, you do it to yourself again. What, and I've heard you talking about it, and it really seems like a spiritual experience. And that for me is a remarkable thing, because really, when you talk about yoga, when you talk about any form of physical exercise, eventually it is about the mind. It is
Absolutely.
it is actually like a spiritual transformation as well. How do you put yourself through that again and again, and then how do you go back to normal life? I'm just concerned about that. How do you go back to being Farhan Akhtar and not Jubhai or Aziz Ali? It's damn tough, isn't it?
Well, it honestly speaking, it does to a certain extent take time to just shed that skin, to use that metaphorically, because you've lived with that character, woken up and lived the life of that character for a really long time. So this film, start to finish, was roughly about 18 months of being from the time of training till the last day of shoot.
And
So it was a
you
long
fat, you well, not fat, but I suppose a little on the
overweight.
heavier side,
Yeah, on the heavier side, yes.
shall we
Um,
say? So how do you manage that?
I mean, see, the thing is with that stuff, it's I don't know, you just have to rely on people who know how to achieve those things better than you. Um, but and just keep in mind what it is that you're trying to do, which is, I mean, be as honest to telling the story as you possibly can. And if the story needs to be honest, your performance needs to be honest, and for that you have to be honest with the way you perform it. So, and I feel that when that happens, and I would imagine that I know I have experienced this watching other people's work, that when you recognize honesty in the work, it somehow takes the performance and it takes the story to like another level for you, because you know that this person has really been genuine about doing what they're doing in this film. And so it was really about that, just wanting to give the viewer eventually this experience where there are no where they can feel that, where they can feel the sincerity. I think, they can feel the honesty in the performance. That's basically what it was.
So we've been asked to wrap up. So just a couple of last questions. Uh, Yet on the face of it, Farhan, I wonder what the kind of reaction we got from men. I was just a bit curious about that. Is it really all about the muscle for them, or do they see beyond that?
No, I mean, it's amazing to me. I mean, that they most men that I know, who either messaged me, called me, or then like kind of posted stuff that I have managed to read. I mean, of course, there has been talk of the physical transformation, because that's very obvious and in your face. So there's talk of that, but there is a lot of talk about just I think more than anything else is recognizing um, effort, recognizing the fact that or how would I say it exactly, respecting the emotion, so to speak. I think that's the right way to put it.
Right. And where do you go from here after having done this to yourself twice over? How does
um,
how does your own physical fitness and mental fitness routine, how do you come back to that? it's bound to be different from the way you prepare for your characters.
Oh yeah, of course, of
What
course.
is your own way of balancing your mind, body, soul?
Well, I mean, I'm just honestly speaking, Kaveri, I'm just back to doing what I was doing before the film, which is back to reading scripts, back to hanging out more at home. I mean, of course, the pandemic um, made that almost a compulsion now. Not much else to do. But yeah, just
But
catching
were
up
you
with
a
things. Yeah.
party person? Were you a party person ever?
No, not for a long time now. Not for a long time now. I've
Grew
tried
out
my
of it.
best. Sorry.
You grew out of it.
Yeah, I grew out of it. I would say maybe about like honestly, maybe about like 10, 12 years ago. I kind of grew out of it, and I've tried my best to be as kind of the thing is that I feel like I don't know, like the kind of older you get, the more you owe it to yourself to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I do feel that. So it's just that I like staying fit. I do. It makes me uh, feel better with work. It makes me just I don't know. I can somehow do things in a lot more positive and a lot more happier way when I feel when I'm feeling fit. So I try and maintain that as much as I possibly can.
Can we talk a little about your off-screen fitness routine?
Yeah, sure, of course, if you want.
What do you do?
Well, I as always. I mean, I train 5 days a week. I'm completely an early sleeper and an early riser.
Really?
So I wake up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My friends make a lot of fun of me. Then when I'm awake at 10 o'clock, they're like, "Oh my god, it's so way past your bedtime. What are you doing? What are you doing up so late?"
That's
Yeah,
unusual in the industry, isn't it?
um, well, I mean, I don't know. The industry is not known for early sleepers. Let's say that,
That's
but there are many early sleepers. But I'm usually like I'm eating dinner by 7:15, and by like 9:30, I'm in bed.
wow.
So that's usually like how my life is. And I'm up in the morning. Like if I get into bed by 9:30, I'll watch something for a little bit. Latest by 10:30, I'm asleep, and I'm up by 6. So that's
And
really my life.
and do you go running or what do you do?
Well, it's a mix of many things. I mean, I'll go to the gym. I'll strength train. I'm still continuing with boxing because I've absolutely loved it. It's a great discipline in terms of working everything that needs to be worked in your body, and working on your endurance at the same time. Everything's happening. So I do that twice a week. I strength train 3 times a week, and then I keep one day just as a cardio day where I'll either run or I'll cycle or I'll do something.
Wow, sounds really fun.
Sorry,
Uh,
ma'am.
yeah, just the
This is
last.
not wrap up your
I would not put myself
guys.
to it. Just the last question: how do you keep mentally, just how do you keep yourself sane?
Well, I think the by surrounding myself by just the right people, and so whether it's Shivani, whether it's my family, whether it's my closest friends, those are the people who keep me grounded. Yeah, they keep me sane. That's basically it.
Thank you so much, Farhan Akhtar, for your sanity and your
Thank you, Kaveri.